So I can't say I didn't expect this to happen. Right, I don't mean to be spamming uploads at the moment and be just throwing shit everywhere, but I wanted to make another quick video. This is hopefully going to be much quicker than the last two, about the state of the game again, because apparently that's relevant. So I love the individual on my last video by the name of, I need to find the name, Fortis Fortuna, probably pronounced that terribly, I hope not. Basically told me to go and check the Cancellation blog that Neil made. Because apparently the title has gone from being Dead Frontier 2 will not be finished to Dead Frontier 2 may not be finished. And he's put a second edit that I'm going to read because it's not too much of a hassle compared to the last massive dialogue that we had before. Since writing, my feelings towards the game have improved massively. Honestly, I'm not sure that I want to abandon the project now. I'm not making any promises, but I'd say there's now a good chance that Dead Frontier 2 will be taken further. Thanks again for all your support, it really has made all the difference. I know I read that terribly. I wasn't really trying to paraphrase, but I just skipped words like a numbnuts. But basically, yeah, the whole quote's on the screen right now. So I kind of called this in my live streams I've been doing. I did say many times I think the response from the Dead Frontier mini updates he's been doing recently might accelerate his motivation a bit and get him back on track with what he wants to do. And it seems like I was entirely right. I kind of called it, I guess. I don't know, but yeah. So this isn't like a guarantee, obviously, that the game's going to be back in development, but it says quite a lot that Neil is... I mean, he's flat out said there's now a good chance that he'll continue doing it. I think that if he does do some work on it, if he's watching this video, Neil, you know, I don't know why he'd be watching my stuff after the amount of shit I've flung, but anyway, if you happen to watch this video, I think the main things you should focus on if you do get back to work on it, either remove or rework the prestige system. I've said this many times. The prestige system in like, concept isn't a bad one. I actually quite like it, and I like the idea of having the plus next to your name to indicate that you are prestige. But the most simple thing you could do is perhaps whenever you hit level 20 reset to 1, but then have that and don't have any resets to your like skills or anything like that, or perhaps just a complete stat reset at level 1 with all the skills you want. Well, actually no, that wouldn't be fair, would it? You know what I mean though, like, or just continue having the level so like you hit level, because it's level 30 now, innit? You hit level 30, and then when you hit prestige, you start at level 31. You know, just something to make it seem like you're not basically just throwing all this effort you just put in away. Because it can, I mean, I'm sure there's some people in the community that like it, but the general consensus I see is that people don't really like it very much, and it can feel very counteractive to what you want want to achieve with an RPG MMO. So that's my main gripe with the game just as a whole, and it always has been. In a way, I don't really want the prestige system to go as well, because I like, as I said, it's the plus thing that I really like, the whole plus in your name. I do like that, but it is one of those things where it's like, well, we're sitting here. Every time you get to level 30, you're suddenly back to 0. You've got no gear that you can use anymore. It's a real mess, really. It'd be cool if you could just not keep your skill. I don't know. It needs reworking. The progression needs reworking. If you can't rework the prestige system, then I'd recommend increasing the XP gain again to maybe 2.5 times. I'd say that's a little bit more of a balanced level curve, because people can be like, well, it's an MMO, it's supposed to take a long time, but it's like, well, there's all these prestige levels anyway. If we're going off of the level 30 now, because I haven't actually had to hit level 30 to prestige, you know, my main character, technically I'm not the level I should be because of the prestige level thing. I obviously hit level 20 twice to get to where I am. But I'm level 17 now, prestige 2. I mean, I have to get to level 30 to level up. But like in full, if we're talking 5 prestiges, that's 1, 2, 3. If I'm right on this, that's 150 levels. I think I'm probably completely wrong in that. I think I'm right. 150 levels. So there's still quite a lot of levels to go through. It's just it's just panned out between the prestiges. So I feel like increasing the, I mean, it could go bad both ways. You can either have it too slow and it become a real tiresome activity. You can increase it really high to the point where you're prestiging like, I don't know, you're getting like 3 to 4 levels per day, or you from just like an hour or two of gameplay, or you could just do the in between and make it fun to keep you, involved. Fun to keep you interested in playing, I guess. Invested, that's the word I was looking for. Or you could just outright keep, or you could just, I don't know, there's so many things you could do, but the most safe one right now would probably just be to increase the EXP, because again, 2 times is good, but I feel like it really needs to be a bit more, because in my opinion, it's so slow leveling up. As I've said before, the worst part of the game is from basically level 7 to level 15. In my opinion, is the worst kind of like curve of the game. Always has been, in my opinion. So I personally would like to see that improved. In terms of actual content being added, can we please get outpost attacks? A clan system, in my opinion, would probably be the easiest thing to add compared to everything else I've just listed, because, well, the prestige system being reworked will take a bit of mental thinking, but I think it won't. I don't know, it might be. It depends how if these systems are built, so it could be harder, it could be not, but out of things actually being added straight up, I'd say the clan system is probably the simplest thing. I'd appreciate a clan system, helps keep everything organised, makes it adds a bit more of a team element to everything. So I would appreciate that. I'd very much appreciate that. That'd be really cool. But yeah, outpost attacks was the main first update that was planned to be added. I don't know if he ever got any progress on it. I don't really know, but it'd be cool to see that that added at some point. Trying to think of other things. Some more bosses. Maybe make the individual areas a bit bigger. It doesn't have to be that much bigger. Just make it bigger to the point where it doesn't feel like you're just walking in a tiny village, because that's kind of what it feels like, you know. People have always said, oh, why can't we just drive to the other locations legitimately? I don't really want that personally. To me, I think it flows the way it does perfectly well. I don't think you need to have it so you can explore certain things. Realistically, if it was a full-on open world map, it could work. It could genuinely be that would be amazing. You could go in between, you know, towns and have these really small areas you just find, like some sort of Jason's shack or something. You're just going through the woods in your car or whatever, and you just come across this tiny like area. That would be very nice, but that would take a lot of effort, like compared to everything else here. That would take, because you'd have to rework the entire map and the way that transporting works. So it does beg the question, is it worth it? I think it would be worth it if he does decide to keep doing the updates. I think focus on clan system, outpost attacks, maybe do the progression, trying to improve the progression, whatever you decide to do, and then obviously maybe focus on bigger things. More bosses is not really something I care about just yet. It'd be cool to see more bosses here and there. I think if we're talking bosses, I don't want bosses. I want like proper special infected enemies. That would be really, really cool. I don't know how it would really flow with the game, but it would be nice to see some genuinely like spooky special infected enemies that are like, you know, not as strong as bosses, but they have their own sort of special effects that can really do damage. I don't know, bloats for example, because we haven't got any exploders yet. Not that I'm suggesting them. If you do exploders, make sure that when you kill them with melee, they don't explode. Please, for God's sake. But like you could have bloats, for example. Don't add dogs. I've said this many times. If you add dogs, I'm boycotting. I can't be doing with the dogs. If you add, I'm trying to think of just a few enemies. The spider, I think should be reserved as a boss. Personally, I don't know how you'd really make that work, but that'd be pretty cool to see. Titan from DF1 is something I wish we could have. I don't think he's actually going to add it. I think he said that he wouldn't, but that would be really cool to see. So those are just a few suggestions for bosses. These are kind of just my suggestions in general. These are my sort of ideas. I think it would be a really cool way to keep the game healthy, just to give us updates, stay rather transparent, and I think it'll all be good if you do decide to continue. So that's kind of my my point here. This is more not like having a go at Neil. This is not having any sort of thing. This is, if anything, it's a message to Neil, just some suggestions. And I guess a thank you for not just throwing the game in the dust, potentially. So if you have any suggestions in the comments, I don't know if Neil will ever see this. I don't know how I can at him, so I ain't going to be able to at him. Oh, and Neil, please, if you don't mind, add me back on Discord. I miss you. If you're on if you're in the comments, guys, just leave suggestions for what you think should be added, or what you think should be worked on, like inventory, stuff like that, for example. Just leave some suggestions. I'm always open to. Well, I say I'm open. I'm not the one making the game, but I'm always open to reading them. And hopefully, if Neil does happen to see the video, probably a low chance, but if he does see it, then there might be a multitude of suggestions and criticism for him to take that hopefully won't be very hateful. So, yeah, if that is the case, try and keep it civil, please. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Really appreciate it, and I will see you all next time.